The pain that destroyed me was the same that made me reborn. I remember exactly the day everything turned upside down. It wasn't when I lost my baby, as painful as that was. It was months later, on the day of my cousin Juliana's baby shower. Even today, just remembering it makes my stomach churn. I had decided I would put on a light dress, tie my hair back, and smile, even though inside I was shattered. It wasn't about me. It was about her, and I wanted to be there. But what happened that day was the push I needed to wake up. The story begins a little earlier. I had just recovered after months locked up at home, crying in the bathroom so Rodrigo wouldn't see. The loss of the baby left me devastated. When I learned that Anna, my best friend for over 10 years, was having her baby, I tried to be strong. But the way she treated me was like being slapped in the face. She said she didn't want me to go to her baby shower because my energy wouldn't be good, as if I were a dead weight on her happiest day. That hurt me in a way I can't explain. It wasn't just about not going to an event. It was realizing that, at the time I needed support the most, the person I thought was my sister chose to cut me out of her life. I spent days wondering if I had really done something to deserve that. Until one day, I gave up trying to understand. I just accepted that I wouldn't have the same friendship anymore. That's when Juliana came into the spotlight. She was never one for grand gestures, but she called me often. She asked how I was, even when I said I was fine, and could tell I wasn't. When she got pregnant, I was happy for her, but also worried. Her pregnancy was complicated, and I knew she needed support. I offered to help with everything at the baby shower, and she accepted with open arms. The day of her tea party arrived. I spent the whole morning helping set the tables, blow up balloons, and sort out party favors. For a moment, I forgot myself, until I saw Anna walk in. I hadn't known she was coming, and the shock was immediate. She looked me up and down as if I had no right to be there, and in that second, I felt a mixture of anger and shame burn inside me. Anna started walking around the room, greeting everyone except me. She wasn't just ignoring me. It was as if she was making it clear to everyone that I didn't exist. A few people noticed, and it created an awkward atmosphere. I tried to keep my mind off it, but every time she laughed out loud or walked past me, without even looking, the air felt heavier. At one point, I saw her talking to Juliana in the corner. I don't know what was said, but I noticed my cousin's expression change. Then Juliana came over to me and told me I could rest a bit, that there were people helping. That sounded wrong. I knew Juliana, and that wasn't her speech. It was Anna's, through her. And that's when I felt something break inside me. I went out into the backyard and leaned against the wall, trying to breathe. I remembered all the times I'd swallowed hard to avoid fighting, all the times I'd accepted being treated as less than, because I didn't want to lose people. In that moment, an absurd clarity came to me. I wasn't losing anything. Whoever treated me that way was no longer truly in my life. I went back inside and continued helping, but this time, without seeking approval, without trying to please. The tea party ended, and when I went to say goodbye to Juliana, I hugged her tightly and thanked her for letting me participate. She looked me in the eye and apologized, saying she didn't know how to make it clear, but that she didn't agree with the way Anna treated me. I said it was okay, but deep down, I knew it wasn't. That night, at home, I sat down with Rodrigo and told him everything, for the first time, without minimizing. I told him what I'd felt, what it had been like to be excluded from a friendship of years, and how that day had made me realize I couldn't allow it anymore. He listened to me, silently, holding my hand, and finally said, "Enough is enough. You don't deserve to go through this." That phrase kept ringing in my head. I always thought I needed to fight for relationships, even when they hurt me. But then I realized that fighting didn't mean humiliating myself. It meant protecting myself, respecting myself, and also respecting the pain I still carried from the loss of my baby. In the following days, I began cutting off contact with Anna. It wasn't easy. She sent indirect messages as if I were ungrateful or dramatic, but I didn't respond. Each time I stopped responding, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. It was as if I was finally taking back control of my life. Juliana remained close, and our relationship grew stronger. She saw what I went through firsthand and never tried to minimize my pain. This gave me a sense of belonging I'd forgotten what it felt like. Little by little, I realized this was what I deserved. People who would stay, even when the party was over and the lights went out. Ultimately, Juliana's baby shower was a turning point. Not because it was perfect, It was far from it. But because it was the day I realized I no longer needed to hold on to someone who didn't want me around. And as much as it still hurts, it was the first time I felt like I could truly rebuild myself. Today, I look back and see that I didn't lose Anna that day. I just saw what she always was. And that, as bitter as it is liberating. After that day, I started paying more attention to how I felt around people. Before, I'd brush aside discomfort to avoid creating conflict. But I realized this always left me in the role of the one who swallows everything and is never heard. I started asking myself, does this person make me feel good or drain me? If the answer was the latter, I'd walk away. No announcement, no fight, just silence. The first week was strange. I was used to checking my phone for messages from Anna, and when there were none, I felt a strange emptiness. But at the same time, I felt at peace. There was no hidden pressure. No fear of saying the wrong thing and becoming the target of ridicule. I could breathe without fear of walking on eggshells. That's when I realized that missing someone isn't always about someone. Sometimes it's just habit. Rodrigo noticed I was feeling lighter. He told me that since we got married, he'd never seen me so determined to put myself first. And that made me realize something else. The way I let people treat me affected him too. He was hurting along with me, even if he never said it. Deep down, I wasn't protecting anyone. I was just hurting myself more. One day, I ran into Anna by chance at the market. She smiled as if nothing had happened and asked why I was missing. I took a deep breath and calmly said, "Because it's not good for me." I didn't yell. I didn't give long explanations. I just told the truth. She was speechless, gave a nervous laugh, and changed the subject. It was the first time I felt in control of a conversation with her. Over time, I began to fill my life with other things. I accepted invitations from colleagues that I'd previously declined because I wasn't in the mood. I started therapy, and there I realized that much of what I accepted stemmed from a fear of losing people. But what I was really losing was myself. This shock was hard to digest but necessary. Juliana had her baby, and I was there in the hospital. I held that little girl in my arms and felt something different. It wasn't just joy. It was as if I was also holding on to a new phase of my life. A phase where I knew I could be present for others without erasing myself. Where I could be supportive, but without negating myself. Of course, it wasn't a I woke up and was cured situation. I still have bad days. I still think about the baby I lost. I still feel angry when I remember certain things Anna did. But the difference is that now I don't let it consume me. I let it come, feel it, and then move on. Before, I drowned in pain. Now I've learned to swim in it. What surprised me most was that, as I moved away from Anna, other people approached me. People I hadn't expected, but who were there, quietly, waiting for space. I discovered friendships that are simple, without hidden demands or competition. And this made me realize that I wasn't difficult to love. I was just trying to be loved by someone who didn't want it. I also learned that family and friendship aren't about time or blood. They're about true presence. Juliana, my cousin, showed me this. And Rodrigo, with all his patience and support, reinforced it every day. When you have people like that around, everything else loses its importance. Today, if someone asks me about Anna, I no longer feel that knot in my chest. I say she was important at one point in my life, but that time is over. And I don't say this with resentment. I say it with the certainty that I don't want to go back. This detachment is liberating in a way I've never experienced before. If I could say one thing to anyone going through something similar, it would be, don't wait for the right moment to walk away from someone who hurts you. Don't wait until you've accumulated so much pain that you explode. If you've already realized it hurts, that's reason enough to walk away. And believe me, as difficult as it may be, it will be worth it. Today, when I think about Juliana's baby shower, I don't just remember the humiliation or the anger. I remember the moment I walked out into the backyard, leaned against the wall, and realized I had a choice. That I no longer needed to beg for space in anyone's life. And that choice changed everything. It wasn't Anna who changed. It wasn't Juliana who solved my life. It wasn't Rodrigo who saved me. It was me. I chose to respect myself. I chose to say no. I chose to put myself at the center of my own story. And that's the part no one can take away from me. I still carry scars. I still have nights when I think about what could have been. But these scars don't define me. They only remind me that I survived. And that, after all this, I'm still here. whole enough to carry on. And that, for me, is already a victory.